So I very much also expect to see Tyler preying on those two decks until he gets to that warrior.
Yeah, there are definitely varying degrees of inactivity amongst the decks. You have the Shaman, I think, which is as far as you can go along the spectrum of this deck does absolutely nothing. Like, there's basically no threats in the entire Shaman deck. The biggest you're looking at is Walking Fountain, I guess, is like your threat. That's your aggro game plan. Whereas the entire rest of the deck does absolutely nothing.
And even though che0nsu got reasonably close to taking wins with Druid and Shaman yesterday against Surrender's decks, we saw from Surrender pretty much a masterclass on if you just pace yourself and don't walk too hard into the removal and go too all in, that you can just outlast the Druid and Shaman, because for the Shaman in particular, they don't have enough card draw to actually hit all of their cards. You can easily see 90% of your deck before they see 50% of theirs.
Right. Also, a pretty important matchup here, not only because of the in-game Hearthstone stuff that's occurring, but also this is undeniably, in my opinion, the two most fashionable players in APAC. Tyler's full handle of Tyler OOTD stands for Tyler Outfit of the Day. He was literally a fashion blogger in his pre-Hearthstone days, and quite successful at it as well, I believe. And che0nsu, I mean, the hat says it all. That's just full stop right there.
Tyler has worn many hats, just recently a Fall Guys professional, if I'm not mistaken, playing on Twitch Rivals yesterday. But at the end of that, he did conclude that he should just stick to Hearthstone, and that is what we're going through today. che0nsu, of course, not having to hold on to his ooze because the mage doesn't run any weapons. And as far as che0nsu's own win condition, the double Kartut defenders are definitely more defensive than what you would see from priests usually. But I think the priest can still win by well-timed raised deads and apotheosis just overrunning the mage.
Yeah, I mean, this is still Priest. This is not that far from the Galakrond version of the deck. Obviously, it has cut the Galakrond in favor of a much more controlling build, but you've still got the Cabal Acolytes, you've still got Murazond, you're not generating as many threats, but there's always the possibility against Mage where if they don't get the high value draw, they just run out of threats, and then if you steal Raz, Giant, any of their reasonably sized threats, you can just come pretty far in the lead as che0nsu.
But Tyler's curve is looking quite threatening. This turn is probably just going to be the Azure Explorer, but every turn beyond that, it's a big minion landing a threat on che0nsu, to the point where che0nsu already used one Breath of Infinite on just a Solarian Prime, because he knows his follow-up curve is subpar minions.
Pretty sure I like the Twin Tyrant here. I think that Proto Drake, while undeniably the kind of beefiest threat here, against Priest, that's not really what you want. You're obviously susceptible to having it be stolen. And also, come turn 8, there's a pretty decent chance there will be a few 4-health minions in play with Kartut Defenders, Sticky Fingers, Cabal Acolytes all in the deck.
First glance, looks like a pretty clean Jandice to me, but it feels bad to waste the +2 spell damage on this while you have a Raz in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at alternate lines where you go for, like, Lab Partner Brain Freeze. It's just what you're spending the rest of your mana on, which is pretty lackluster. Unless you want to go Apprentice, but that feels a bit too risky. You don't really get much out of it.
Going for the big Raz payoff feels unnecessarily risky. Mortuary Machine.
Pretty good.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a big punish on che0nsu's side, because the most annoying minion to give Reborn on che0nsu's end already has Reborn in the Kartut Defender.
Yeah, double Reborn not a thing in Hearthstone. Thank goodness.
Unless you're Revius and you play Grave Runes.
Ah, true.
Well, Breath of the Infinite can test for which one is the illusion, and then he can go from there.
I guess it's pretty good as the Breath here, right? It does a decent job of clearing up some of this stuff.
It's slightly awkward. I mean, because he can't pair Apotheosis with it, you're actually just clearing Jandice and one of the illusions. I would have to imagine it's the Taunt. And then you free up space for the Cobalt to hit the 2-3.
I mean, it's pretty hard to get a read here
I
because
was
Tyler,
wrong.
right, he could very well make this play and end up with Mortuary Machine being the illusion. Like, this is fine for che0nsu. He can obviously still go Holy Smite or Breath of the Infinite to clear it up. But it's a nice dupe for Tyler.
With the Shadow Word Death pick, there was even Holy Smite Death as an option here, but clearing off the Jandis, of course, is giving the additional upside of one less Conjurer's Calling target.
Good point.
Although technically, the Explorer is still a decent conj target.
Alright, now it's Raz time, surely. Super high amount of damage. Obviously, you get to keep the spell damage on board, which is far from insignificant as well.
And he can stack it.
Oh.
Raz just feels so backbreaking to play while you're already ahead. It feels like there's a point of no return after the mage sets up a way to answer your board without even having to commit minion trades.
Yeah, Raz is one of those minions where you usually see the effect as kind of like a battle cry, and it's already disgustingly powerful. If you get multiple activations, you can just pack up shop right there.
Certainly feels like that's what's going to happen to che0nsu. This Raised Dead gives him Ooze and Cobalt Spellkin.
Yikes.
Neither of which are immediately impactful to deal with the Raz, but maybe he does just have to go fishing with the Spellkin to find Wave of Apathy and try to top deck the Small Acolyte soon.
Yeah, the other line is, of course, to just, like, play Kartut Defender and say that, you know, the 4 damage from Raz is annoying, but of course you have to get through the taunt first before that does anything.
That's fair.
A simple step.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wind Tyrant, not playable next turn because he's still going for the Cobalt, but Wave of Apathy right now at least gives him a better shot of challenging the board.
I don't even know if I like playing out the Spellkin there, because it just dies to a ping on board, if nothing else.
Right.
I get that nothing else really did anything on that turn. And having said that, you know, the Twin Tyrant doesn't even kill Raz next turn. Basically, no matter how you slice it, it's looking bad for che0nsu.
Yeah, he's in a ton of trouble. And even if he were to top deck Soul Mirror on the next turn, the fact that the Azure Explorer is damaged means that copying Raz plus spell damage minions on the other end would not clear the Raz on Tyler's side.
Ping to clear, everything else goes face, setting up for a huge Shenvala turn, Twin Tyrant, Conjurer's Calling. So many avenues of attack here for Tyler.
Oh, there's a Soul Mirror. This is so close to being good if only the Azure Explorer had more health.
So the play was to heal the Azure Explorer and pass last turn. Ah.
Yes, absolutely. 5 head.
If he goes for...
Must consider.
He doesn't have mana to go Inner Fire as well. Yeah, it doesn't quite...
So he's just gonna Inner Fire Death this.
Yeah.
Plus Ooze heal his face. Oh, it's so awful. It's partially setting up for a better Soul Mirror on the next turn, but I think che0nsu already knows it's little to no chances of winning this matchup and the next matchup. And the real series starts once Tyler is forced to queue his warrior.
Yep. Once again, this is the lineup that hard targets Warrior. He wants to beat it 3 times as by far his best chance of taking the win here.
And for Tyler, does he ever get punished by anything as long as he doesn't go too all in into Soul Mirror? Fine.
Missiles. He just found lethal.
Maybe.
Yep, I think that's going to do it, right?
Yep. 6 and 6. And even has another ping. Easy peasy for Tyler there. No big surprise.
Very clean game.
Fair to say the Priest still has a shot maybe with the next matchup, but this is not the same Priest that we're used to seeing. Doesn't have Gallifron, doesn't have very much minion presence. It has tons of weapon removal. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the... I think that was the easiest one for Tyler to get a win with over the course of that game. Obviously with the Priest banned away right at the start there from Tyler, he still has the Druid and, of course, the Warrior. The Druid, I still think, is in a really good shot. If the Priest is decided to be queued up again here, for che0nsu, then it's a version of the deck. The Priest for che0nsu has very low value. It's difficult to get ahead on board and then lock it down and turn it into a win. You're more looking to, I guess, hope that the Druid draws dead or they expend all their threats too early. But again, this is from Tyler, the build with King Phaeorus. This is a very threat-dense build of the deck with che0nsu, Ysera, Guardian Animals, even an Omu thrown in there as well, which is kind of, I think, Fino's signature tech that he was vying for. That with, as you said, the buff to how Innovate and Lightning Bloom work with it is a pretty reasonable inclusion in just any Druid list right now.
Even has the double survival of the fittest on the top end to really milk the value out of the King Phaeorus. But I think that the Forest Warden Omu in this deck is replacing one of Anubisoth Defender, because if you are just playing it for no big combo potential, it is essentially a 0 mana 5/4, which sometimes has the upside of giving you additional mana if you activate it with a temporary ramp spell. So it's just better than Anubisoth in that regard. I also definitely expect Tyler to take this win, and if it is going to be Priest again for che0nsu, I feel that his only way out of it is to steal the Twilight Runners from Tyler to make sure that he has his own cycle going, because otherwise this Priest deck hardly draws cards or even generates them because he's cutting value for weapons. Oh, but Tyler's on the Warrior.
Right, he's just going in with the bad deck first. Gotta say, his storytelling abilities in terms of how we wanted to frame the matchup here, 0 out of 10, Tyler, but you know what? We'll take che0nsu's chance to win the Warrior here, because to be fair, if Tyler wins this, it's like homing in on 100% that he wins the series.
Oh, for sure. If the Warrior gets through, che0nsu has no chance whatsoever. And as it stands, che0nsu has not hit one of his 4 pieces of weapon removal just yet, whereas Tyler has Ankar for cycle. I think it was a certain Norwis who was telling you how important this is up against any of these super weapon removal lineups.
Yeah, right. When we were practice testing Norwis, I think at the time, I'm not sure if he still is, a rank 1 EU player playing a lot of Zoo was telling me I should keep Ankar, and he kept pointing out the merits of how it would have been good at different points, and I did eventually snap at him. So I apologize, Norwis. I was frustrated at having to queue this Warrior into Gia pretending to be che0nsu's lineup for like 4 hours. I can only take so much.
It's okay. I mean, I passed on the frustration when I had to queue this lineup up against real decks piloted by Funnel. But of course, it's not just all about the Ankar. Ankar is important to help cycling, but it's really making sure that you get the wrench caliber swings in as early as possible, because now, as you so poetically pointed out the other day, is the least likely time that they'll have drawn into their counter to your play.
So this is a weird point, right? Because obviously Brightwing was like #1 thought process here, because wow. Okay. Because of the fact
he's gonna steal it, so he wants to heal it. I love it.
That's pretty smart. Yeah, I mean, the point was that Brightwing gets into the Death Rattle pool for Raised Dead, which you don't really like. But this is the part of the turn I wasn't seeing, where he, at the same time, kind of plays around Battle Rage, and like you said, gets him a nice, healthy Armor Smith for the next turn.
That's pretty funny. I will say the one downside of having played out Ankar and broken it on your side of the field means that Horde Pillager is not guaranteed to resurrect Wrench Caliber in the future, which is definitely the one you want, because more bombs equals more chances of activating Dr. Boom, more chances of beating che0nsu. And che0nsu is like just beside himself with the irony of the one time I have queued the matchup I wanted, I don't have weapon removal.
Oh, it's just so brutal. He's been sitting here all weekend like, okay, this is fine. I wasn't meant to beat Surrender. I'll take the loss here. It all leads up to this. And it turns out he's just losing at the moment.
I mean, I wouldn't say losing. He's got a good grip on the board. He has Mage Scribe to follow up. He might be winning, just not the way he expected.
Yeah. Losing with style, I like to call that.
Yes, winning the way you didn't expect is losing with style.
What now?
Okay.
Well, obviously, Barov is the expected play on this turn because, you know, against this deck, it's not going to get much better than this, and just clearing the board, denying armor, damage to face, pretty good, right?
So are you liking Barov's swing into Ball Acolyte or Skipper Barov?
I think Skipper Barrow just clear up the board.
I definitely am on board with that. Still has second Skipper to pair with the Battle Rage, and every swing to the face is relevant here. Mage Scribe Raise Dead.
I mean, interestingly enough now, it's worth considering just going for the Raised Dead because you guarantee Armor Smith, which is a premium card, I suppose, to get, comparatively speaking.
And by this point, you already know that one of their maximum 4 wrench calibers is going off without weapon removal. So you're not necessarily saving Raised Dead for a weapon removal.
And Tyler, I think, you know, he played out the Wrench Caliber going into the coin Sticky Finger turn because he realized, as usual, with tech cards, the time when they're least likely to have it is always now. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Wrench Caliber coming down next turn again and just start swinging once more.
Yep. Oh, this is so brutal for che0nsu. Not like this. I wanted to see the warrior actually do something. Okay.
Huge draw. Huge.
He's in this. He's in this. And what's also huge is he can stick an Apotheosis target this turn with Breath of the Infinite. With 3 breaths, infinites, I think that's the line.
Breath, Apo, Collide. Wow.
Man, I wanted an Apo target really bad here. I suppose it's really weak to Blade Storm, is the thinking, and the Armor Smith does get him conditional healing, which was otherwise hard to activate. Okay, on second glance, I like this.
It's very cute, if nothing else, and their armor gain is worth a lot as opposed to health gain here.
True. It's more likely that you'll stick an Apo target compared to having an armor smithable board, if that makes sense. Either thinking about whether he wants to shield slam this, I have to assume, so he can push another 3 to the face, or even kill the Armor Smith. I have to assume that you get rid of the Armor Smith here.
Definitely where my head's at, unless he just wants to swing face instead of clearing it.
Okay. Well, my thinking is, like, you are going to play another minion at some point, either with Deathwing or trying to go with the Dr. Krastenov, so the Armor Smith will get additional value.
It's unless you want to set up for Brawl, right? Which is very possibly his thought process. Leave minions on board, let him develop, and then Brawl.
Makes a lot of sense.
Job's done.
che0nsu loves this Armor Smith. He's treating him so much better than Tyler ever did. Healing it on 2, going for the Embalming Ritual here. You know what, Tyler? She's better off without you. You've got to let her go, man.
He literally did steal the girl, and he's treating her better. Oh man. 2 well-dressed guys, and che0nsu is Mr. Steal Your Girl. There must be some memes to be found within this matchup, but we'll think about it later because this is a decision point for Tyler. We were talking about how he left it up in the first place because of Brawl, but now that it has a Reborn behind it, if Tyler wants to completely remove it, he'll have to commit Shield Slam as well. So ends up on Deathwing instead.
Oh yeah, it still gets the armor anyway, no matter what you go in there. Got excited there for a second. Armor Smith still here for che0nsu because of Tyler's decision there, which means heal up, kill the, or even steal the Deathwing if you want to. Maybe heal the Deathwing.
Mr. Steal Your Dragons. Okay, he has evolved. And he can pick the Apotheosis as well, although there's always argument for fitting in every single hero power.
Yeah, I guess you are kind of expecting the Brawl. Like, if they have it, they probably just let it rip here because it's likely to be the best they're ever going to get.
Yeah, I like leaving it in here. And I would also be down for the swing just because he has second Sticky Finger in hand, although swinging could telegraph to Tyler that che0nsu has another Sticky Finger in hand.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it does telegraph some amount of information, but the thing I realized while playing Bomb Warrior in these kind of matchups is you generally just always have to assume they have it. You can't play any differently because the whole game plan revolves around getting the weapons. And with Tyler missing the 50-50 here, things have gone from looking a little bit sketchy at the start for che0nsu to looking pretty dang good.
Yeah. Have gone a little bit south for Tyler, but he does have Blastmaster Boom for the follow-up and another shot with the Horde Pillager, although by that point it's very likely to get Ankar instead. Big draw for che0nsu as well, something nice and well-suited for healing put on board, because the Cobalt spell can, you know, I think che0nsu would much rather have the taunt.
Yep, sure. For me, it was just whether you go for the sticky finger there, because there is one more way to get a Wrench Caliber in the deck, I believe, with the last remaining Horde Pillager. So I suppose it does make sense to just hold on to it here and try and steal the Wrench Caliber instead. But now, I was talking about ways that you can play around your opponent's weapon destruction. This is an opportunity for Tyler to do that. Just buffing up the Ankar here as much as possible makes it so that if che0nsu doesn't steal or destroy the weapon, he's still doing a lot of damage.
It's a very interesting line, because I was looking at potentially Horde Pillager to hit the 50-50 again. And then go for Krastenov afterward if you get the Wrench Caliber. But like you said, this line does play a bit harder around additional weapon removal.
I like it. Like next turn, Galakrond Hero Power upgrade is a lot of damage.
Oh, but he's found the ooze.
Yep, that changes things again here. Now we're just looking at what Breath, Ooze, Spellkin.
And now Tyler has to go for a board-based / Galakrond-based gameplay. Okay, he's just drawn all his bombs
my God,
before che0nsu's drawn a single one. But there are 0 bombs left in Tyler's deck. That's pretty funny. So could see Horde Pillager again and Brawl.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I was looking just at Galakrond first and then, like, tank the damage here, I suppose, and clear next turn. But I guess, you know, you're probably going to be facing down the same problem. You may as well clear first.
My thinking is if you go Horde Pillager Brawl, even if you don't hit a good outcome on the Pillager, if the Ooze survives, you can kill it, and the only disaster outcome is if the Cobalt survives.
Whoa.
Okay, good outcome for Tyler now.
Yeah, that's a 1 in 3 at that point, right, to get it?
I mean, is it good? Because che0nsu's gonna steal it.
You have to assume it's good, right? The only way that you win is by getting these bombs in the deck and then go for a big Blastmaster Boom. We can see it's kind of bad because che0nsu just gets to seal it again, but this is the way the matchup goes.
Oh, and he immediately draws the 3rd bomb, so there are only 2 left in the deck for che0nsu. It's not even a full charge boom next turn.
And now the healing starts to come through, right? We've got Renew. There's still Kartuk Defenders in the list, with, of course, plenty of other healing to supplement that alongside. Apotheosis still hasn't even been used.
This is like the 4th Breath of the Infinite, or even 5th one that che0nsu's had this game. But
yeah, this is turning into Grandmasters ASMR edition with all this breathing.
Inaudible whispers. Favorite triggers. Probably Dark Prophecy, because it would be good to have more shots at an Apotheosis target.
Strictly incorrect choice. Fishflinger is a cooler card.
Okay. Agreed.
I mean, we're going for style points in this matchup. That's the line we've been going for here, right?
Agreed. And I didn't realize Tyler had drawn so much. Or are we seeing some issue with the number of the cards left in the deck? That doesn't seem right.
I mean, he has drawn quite a lot, right? He's swung a bunch of times with Ankar. He's drawn with Battle Rage, Shield Block.
So that means he's extremely likely to die in the near future with 1 card left. one
He
bomb
is.
in the deck.
And so he's just going for the instant win here? Question mark? With trying to make his opponent draw all the bombs? Not even possible now.
I have to assume this is playing around Soul Mirror because that
Yeah.
would be insta-death for Tyler.
Good point.
And as it stands, che0nsu doesn't have an answer to Boom, but he can renew and fish and just stall out.
Renew and fish. There's also Draconic Studies. You could go first for Evasive Worm, which clears alongside the Breath of the Infinite, or just Aeon Reaver.
Yep, that's pretty spicy.
It's one of those things where if you knew what you were going to get off Mage Scribe / Renew, like if you were guaranteed a death, you'd take that. But I think because you're not, you just take the guaranteed of Aeon.
Absolutely. And I just realized that I haven't looked at my deck tracker in a while, and Tyler does in fact only have 5 cards in the deck, and one of them is a bomb. Remaining stuff, there's an Armor Smith in there, which could be pretty relevant, but Bladestorm, Shield Block, Corsair Cash, not too much.
Luminance. I suppose you can use that with an Apotheosis target to get double lifesteal, guys.
The gift? Yeah. That makes sense. Or Grave Ruins to give yourself a better chance of sticking something for Apotheosis, but my problem with the Grave Rune is that you can't play it this turn.
Alright.
Tyler on the secondary game plan of just trying to maximize swings to che0nsu's face. We've seen that early Galakron can make all the difference in trying to beat these weapon removal decks.
I mean, it's not over quite yet. Tyler still has a chance. Obviously, there's the bomb in his deck, and fatigue is going to start setting in very fast. But he can gain armor with Risky Skipper and a buffed Armor Smith. che0nsu still has the bombs in his deck, and most importantly, he's running out of any proactive plays.
Yeah, it is absolutely still winnable for Tyler here. He's taking the 4 because he knows as long as he stays above 5, che0nsu just doesn't have a way of dealing damage to Tyler.
There's the fatigue considerations, right? Like, what is he saving the Shield Slam for? That definitely didn't feel like the turn from Tyler.
That's true. I guess the biggest target to Shield Slam at this point is Murozond, but if che0nsu hits that, you probably accept you're losing anyway.
Right, right.
Last card in Tyler's deck is Corsair Cash, so che0nsu just needs to survive 2 turns.
Shield blocks are kind of working actively against you here. I guess the best you have is Armor Smith gain a little bit here, and then maybe try and Blade Storm it to get a bunch of armor as well. It's something.
I'm not against that.
Bomb?
1 bomb left in che0nsu's deck. Shadow Word Death is a huge pickup. He can fully clear. But the problem remains is that he just has not drawn a minion to stick Apotheosis or Grave Runes on.
I mean, this is where Gift of Luminance would be a lot better as well, because you could go Gift of Luminance on the Armor Smith and then Death it.
I have to agree. I think the Grave Rune pick just... Like, while it was ambitious and you can see the reasoning for it, it made all the difference that he couldn't play it the turn he discovered it.
And I think as close as it was, with how many bombs left in the deck for che0nsu? 2?
1.
1. Yeah, it's... I don't think it's happening. I think you just heal every turn.
I mean, Tyler's pushing 5 every turn.
It's pushing 3 every turn. With the heal factored in, right?
Okay. I mean, after this, Tyler has 1 more turn to live. As long as che0nsu doesn't raise dead himself. Okay, and the ooze makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
Put the Grave Runes on this, and that's... doesn't even need to. That's GG.
I think che0nsu there, more than anyone else, appreciates that felt way too close for what the entire point of his lineup is. If that had taken a win there, that would have been a top 1 moment of GM full stop, where you bring an entire lineup to counter 1 deck, and then it wins straight away. A bit of, I think, weird ordering there at the end from Tyler, like taking the extra damage and having Shield Slam in hand until the end of the game. Maybe he had something else in mind. I'm not sure what it was, and I think on average, he just took extra damage that he did not need to.
Very possibly. I also wonder if there were maybe a chance for him to get down Galakron a bit earlier, because we saw the difference it made in that matchup. Because even though Tyler did not manage to get all of the wrench caliber swings through,
Good
you
point.
can offset the damage you miss if you get to press the button every single turn. And we'll see if Tyler, learns more about these matchups on the fly, because he's essentially facing the same style of deck 2 more times, and he has to get through with the warrior at some point.
He does indeed. He could queue it up right now, or he could take the easier win by a significant margin with the Druid, which is, I think, what he is going to go for. It's going to be the Druid up against, I believe, the Shaman from che0nsu. And in our testing, I believe you in particular came to the conclusion that this Shaman is not it. This is not the one.
Nope. I mean, I loved Shaman back in the days when you could play a 1-mana 1/3 that grows into a 2-mana 3/4. This is not the Shaman I know and love. It has nothing proactive to do outside of sometimes Fist of Raden, which you often end up overwriting anyway when you steal your opponent's weapons. And yeah, I don't think it has a very good shot up against Tyler's minion-heavy deck. Has survival of the fittest to buff things out of scheme range every so often.
But it's all right. It's supposed to lose. This deck is born to die, because the real genius of this strategy is if you bring most of your decks to lose. When you win, it feels extra good. I mean, I don't know. I'm still very critical of che0nsu's bring overall this week, but as we've been saying, it's target the warrior. That's the entire deck, and we're going to see if it can get the job done.
I mean, yesterday you were calling this Raisin Shaman, now it's Born to Die, so it's Lana Del Rey Shaman. I don't even know at this point. Tyler's hand is pretty amazing, though. He hit Nature Studies into Wild Growth, which means he'll be able to coin out Twilight Runner into Twilight Runner.
Ooh.
Or go for Overgrowth. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
In a way, this is a blessing for che0nsu. Just let it end quickly, before he gets to the actual good matchup.
Oh my god, what is happening to our casting? Like, no, it's actually strictly good to lose here. Like, this is great for che0nsu.
He can't win with this deck. I just don't know how it happens.
Okay,
in this matchup,
this is the swing, right? I mean, look at this. No matter what Tyler goes for here, Hagatha's scheme, boom, wiped, 5-cost legendary. If it's a big one, I don't even know what you can get that's big enough, but a big legendary minion off of the Claws of Raden, that's something.
I'm feeling Jandis here just because I think it'll be so funny. I don't know. But to be fair, it could be a 7-cost legendary to follow this. Okay.
Pretty good.
He has Torrent for next turn.
Okay, now Tyler, we're looking for play a minion and pass. Dang it.
Didn't find it. So close. So close there.
So we've got the the synergy with Torrent here, right? Which is guaranteed to hit Reliquary of Souls, I believe. I don't even know if that's good at this point, but it's a thing.
I don't think that counts as synergy, but it's probably the play, unless you want to go for the early Earthquake.
I mean, that's
which
a
gives
thing.
you... Yeah, that's a thing. I mean, you're not overloading onto your 8-mana turn, which is what's important, because you can still play Walking Fountain, but it means he can't play a 6-drop on the next turn. I think he would rather just play the Torrent next turn. And because there are no 0-cost legendaries, going Lightning Bloom will not expend a charge on the Fist of Raden. Okay, what are you feeling there? Dino Tamer Brand?
Yeah, not that. I mean, I was looking like, does Katrina, but Katrina costs 8, because then you could have got back the Kel'Thuzad, but nah, not this one. This isn't game-winning quite yet. We're going to need something a bit better than that.
You need the tidal waves so you can start hitting the Tyrion,
True. 8 drops are pretty good.
Oh no, he can't play Lurker below.
Oh, I'm glad che0nsu's enjoying it as well. Oh, 2 reliquaries? Hello? Pack it up, boys.
Oh, this is so hilarious. He has to respect it because of survival of the thing.
Oh,
I'm losing it, Derek. I'm losing it.
look at that big ugly crystal face.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Alan that went for a similar play just to set up survival. Obviously, it wasn't in so unnecessary of a matchup to do so, but this is a very, very real threat that che0nsu had to think about.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler can, for the most part, do pretty much anything he wants here, and he could end up with a win. Again, che0nsu's deck is not built for this matchup. It's absolutely abysmal against Druid. Trade Lurker below. Doesn't do much, does it?
I think it's Torrent Lurker, and you don't clear off one of the 6/6s, but you stay alive. Alternatively, force it and then just double trade. Okay. So the win condition now is prime into prime?
It's not even that good, though. It's like a 7-mana 6/8 for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, because Tyler can rush minions into it. But
Yeah.
I'm grasping at straws here, Derek.
KT plus Forest's 8? That's a thing, right? You could even get down the Twilight Runner as well. Although I suppose you want to rush out the Runner, right, to guarantee the draw.
What about rushing out all the Treants?
Definitely the dumbest play, which is a big point in your favor for why he should make it.
I'm definitely in that territory with this matchup alone.
Our tombs.
Oh, there's no synergy with Gidra and Forest 8. Disaster.
Imagine.
Imagine that mattering.
Missing
che0nsu.
out on the +8/+8.
Yeah, he throws it down. Tyler looks thoroughly unfazed there. I mean, I'm sure he's just sitting there thinking, what is happening this series? Why am I playing against this weird lineup from my opponent? I mean, obviously he knows what the lineup is trying to do in targeting the Warrior. But as you said now, Gia, we're into the meat of this series now. Warrior has lost once. The other two decks have won, as expected. che0nsu is going for the strategy of beating this Warrior twice. And here's the question. Is this one of the few times in my entire time of casting Hearthstone where the player who's 2-1 up is unfavored?
I would have to agree. I think the only reason you can go for a hard target strategy is if you believe that you have higher than like 60% odds of winning with the matchup you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
Because if you have to win 3 times in a row with the 60%, that averages out to not winning overall, right? Being unfavored in the series overall, that is. So I'd have to assume, at least from che0nsu's perspective, that he is still favored from this spot. Whether he can, convert that theory into practice remains to be seen, because the Shaman in particular does not run very much card draw. It's like Farsights, and that's it. And that means you will not always be hitting the 4 pieces of weapon removal you run or the healing that you need exactly when you need it. I'm worried about the Shaman, but I do think the Quest Druid has enough consistency in there to beat Warrior most of the time.
I agree. I think the Druid felt like the stronger of the two decks for sure. Like even Sphere of Sapience, it's worth saying, if you're trying specifically to find tech cards, it almost functions like a card draw every turn in the chances of finding your specific card, because you kind of delete it from your deck by putting it to the bottom for the moment. But yes, the Shaman does for me feel like the tough lineup. It's not a 100% matchup at all. The one thing that we've seen quite consistently from the Warrior as the main chance of squeezing out even a single win here, for me, was Galacront. Like, at the start of testing, I was keeping Blastmaster Boom, because my thought was, okay, we hit Wrench Caliber, we curve out, hopefully they don't have the weapon destruction, and then 6 Boombots, surely that gets the win. And I quickly came to realize that just wasn't really the case. It wasn't consistent enough, and you just kind of need the extra damage from Galakrond.
That is true. The warrior does pack enough removal to get rid of the meager but not negligible threats from the druid side. The double Oasis Surgers and Lucent Bark are mainly what they're trying to take board with. And after the warrior gets through that, if the healing has all been bottomed out from the druid, sometimes the repeated damage from Galakrond can get there. But before we head into all of that, we have to talk about how the druid goes about its quest completion. And che0nsu already there forewent the option of going quest coin because he doesn't want to necessarily have the quest done as soon as possible, so much as making sure that he has flexibility later on.
Just got a cool tidbit there as well from Lorinda doing some quick maths. That apparently, in order to be favored, all three of the decks need to be 79.4% favored against Warrior to even be slightly favored in the overall series with this strategy. So clearly, Aojiru and the rest of the Japanese crew who coined this strategy are going to have to be very, very confident with its chance against the Warrior.
Tyler throwing his arms up like, all right, here's my first weapon.
Enjoy.
You have it. And he does have the ooze for now, but it's a question of how he wants to go about the rest of the turn.
Yeah. And to be fair, ooze is a lot worse than Sticky Finger here. Like, coin Sticky Finger would be absolutely devastating for Tyler to lose one of the effects. You can't resurrect it with Ward Pillager. But here for che0nsu, there's another one swinging in, and he does not have the answer right now.
Not right now, but he has a chance with the draw of the spear. New Fate. You're new fating this every single time.
New Fate.
That's the Sticky Finger.
New Fate.
You gotta believe, che0nsu. Believe in the 79.4%. Oh, he takes the Wrath. I guess Wrath is cycle anyway, so he can still hit Boost potentially. But not Sticky Finger. Uh-oh.
Okay, so this is where we start talking about the contingency plans here for che0nsu, because obviously weapon destruction as soon as possible is plan A. You want to do that. But there is also in the deck Wormrest Purifier, which turns all neutral spells, which bombs count as neutral, or neutral cards, sorry, of which bombs are obviously neutral cards as well. It turns them into random druid cards. So he can, at any point here, when he finds the Wormrest, just delete the bombs from his deck.
It is an emergency panic button to defuse everything at once, and also he already has Elysiana in hand, so it's not something that potentially gets caught in the crossfire of the Wormrest. He hits the Sticky Finger! He's done it, Derek! He's done it!
Oh my god.
I've never been so excited for a damn Sticky Finger. This is the last Horde Pillager from Tyler, but there's still one more natural Wrench Caliber.
One wrench, yeah.
In the deck.
And 3 bombs in che0nsu's deck at the moment, right?
Currently, yes.
Yeah. All right. We have a game on our hands because Tyler got pretty much the dream start plus a Galakrond.
But che0nsu has hit like about the average amount of weapon removal you're likely to see by this point, given that he had Sphere of Sapiens.
Slight misplay, probably should have...
I don't see any reason for him to have the face tank with more damage.
Yeah.
No way.
Probably should have swung with the Sphere first to get an extra charge, but, you know, I'll accept this. Well...
This looks like an insta-Galakrond equipment.
Yep.
Tyler is now on the push the button plan, and sometimes che0nsu doesn't hit all of his healing, but it doesn't feel all that likely because Nourish exists. Saladris is in hand for any time he hits Crystal Power to double up on the healing effect.
And I think against the Druids specifically, this really does tell you quite how disastrous of a matchup this is for the Warrior, because Tyler got, as I said, almost card for card the dream hand. It's only like Blastmaster Boom, I guess, that could make this a little bit better in terms of his proving his chances, but he got 3 Wrench Calibers down at the start of the game, Galakrond on curve, and still, he's so far behind.
Hold on. che0nsu is going on the aggressive here. This is pretty interesting. You could be saying that drawing here, if I hit all the bombs, is the way I lose. So he could just be looking to curve out on board, follow with the Lucent Bar, depending on the board state, possibly even go for Elysiana. Not sure. My first instinct would have been to draw for sure, to try and hit the double, what is it, hidden Oasis, or
Right.
Crystal Power, or even the one of Healing Touch, or the 2 Groundskeeper in his deck.
Just any healing. That's what you need here.
Yeah.
Or...
1 bomb.
This is not
There we go. Lucenbark, a huge deal in the matchup, and very, very little way for Tyler to deal with it, obviously, or basically no way to deal with it without activating the Death Rattle as well.
But the Krasinov was the buffed minion here from the Galakrond draw.
Okay,
Pretty huge.
that's more damage face. Pretty big deal.
I think that is the priority.
I mean, you take that, right? That's your win condition here. You get them down to 10 health.
what's
Maybe you just win next turn.
Yeah, a small percentage of the time, and even if you don't, you still just have more charges of the Ankar. Not the best weapon, but you take it.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
The alternative, I suppose, was Deathwing. We're thinking about, but you don't get to press the button. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness! Tyler's in this.
Hello? 10
Green
health?
skin?
2 bombs?
Okay, che0nsu is very likely to hit healing. Okay, there's a healing touch.
Start with that.
I was gonna say, the fact that he hadn't nourished earlier to get ramp was
Yeah.
pretty relevant, because this turn, had he not had healing touch, there was no access to, say, nourish into hidden Oasis, because he is not at the full 10 mana yet.
Whoa, okay. Now we're talking. Hidden Oasis here. Groundskeeper plus Oasis next turn. That's full health.
It was scary for just a moment.
Oh, I mean, I love che0nsu and I really want him to win because I picked him as my pick to do the best at the start of the season. But boy, did I kind of want both bombs to go off there. It just would have been so perfect.
What?
I mean, imagine.
You're evil, Derek.
Imagine.
You're evil.
Oh, it would have been so funny.
Yeah, you just want more top 5 moments content, don't you?
I said nothing.
I think you're free to say that because che0nsu, for the most part, seems like a really good sport. Whenever anything unlucky happens to him, we kind of see him go for a wry smile rather than looking outwardly depressed or salty.
Yeah. That's why he can play this kind of a lineup and I can't. I do not have the mental fortitude for it.
Okay. Groundskeeper, Oasis Surger, get rid of that Deathwing. Alternatively, Gidra Hidden Oasis. But you sack your Gidra immediately. I mean, because che0nsu has 2 bombs left in the deck, as long as he stays above 10 plus however much damage Tyler is threatening from his weapon, which is currently 5,
Yeah.
then he's fine.
I think it's bang on. He's just killing Tyler at the moment. Like, every time you save a healing spell... Sorry, you just want to go one at a time. You want to go... Lucenbark dies, you res it. Lucenbark dies, you res it. You res it over and over again.
Sorry, it was currently 6 because of the 1 charge or 1 attack gain from Krasinov. So technically this isn't the safest play, but it probably still wins.
Second Blade Storm? I think you take it, right? This is probably your best chance again to just win the game.
But then you miss the green skin additional charge, assuming that you're swinging face.
But then what, do you swing into the Lucenbark? You kind of lose more damage anyway with that line, right?
That's true, especially since the Lucenbark is probably just coming back to life the next turn. I'm on
Right.
board. Blade Storm, Hero Power face, try to hit both the bombs off the top.
Oh, okay, he's going with Bossmaster Boom instead. Just not swinging. Okay.
Well, obviously, Starfall cleans up the board, but
Yeah.
the awkward thing with Quest Druid is that your board clear often doesn't fit in with the amount of mana you have remaining for the healing. Hidden Oasis makes the whole turn awkward.
Yeah, you can just go Gidra. Like, you could go attacking with Lucent Bark, Gidra trade into one of... Oh no, I guess you wouldn't want to do it. But I was going to say you could get an attack with Gidra so the Lucent Bark is more likely to die, so you can res it. But you probably don't attack with Gidra first because of the fear that it just dies.
Correct.
Nature speaks through us.
I think this is fine, even if you don't res the Lucent Bark, as long as you get rid of the boom, put another taunt in play. che0nsu is chillin'.
Oh! Terrible ordering.
Only he had some armor gain to push everything else face.
Right, so trade, skipper, armor smith. If you get lucky, as he just did, he can now point everything face.
Yeah, Skipper, armor smith, greenskin, even fit in the hero power. It's all. Oh, that's okay, the best target, but low amount.
Armor made to fit.
Drink up the army.
Oh, is it hero power or blade storm? I mean, battle rage.
Wow, okay. I guess, I mean, it's never going to get even close to as good as that again. So I can
That's
respect
true.
it. Whoa.
Just not sure what Tyler's
Great.
deck does at this point.
I mean, it swings face, and it does it for quite a few more turns. Like, the green skin helps, the upgrade helps, obviously hero power.
You know, that's what I mean. Like, is the cards in the deck more valuable than getting 3 damage for 1 more turn?
Oh, yeah.
And probably, yes, overall, if you think about che0nsu possibly developing his own board, and you kind of want to have more answers to make sure you can keep pushing face.
This Lucenbark is so completely illegal, this game. Like, how many times has he rezzed it already?
2?
It's like 4 or 5. He's got it so many times already, I swear.
That's not on my deck tracker. You're not allowed to ask me that.
Computer says no.
But, I mean, obviously, che0nsu has been pulled back from the brink of death here. Tyler is running out of ways to win the game. Not even sure what he's drawing toward. At this point, I feel like it's going down to fatigue for Tyler, and he just wants to give himself more time to press the button every single turn.
I see.
1 bomb left for che0nsu in the deck, and he can purify it if he so chooses.
Alright.
0 bombs! The purifier does nothing!
Bombs finito. Lucenbark. Back.
Yes.
Weapon. Destroyed. What are the cards left in deck now for Tyler? Is there...
Wrench Caliber and Upgrade. The one
Right.
last Wrench Caliber. I suppose that was what he was drawing for.
Yeah.
My mistake.
I am running out of cards.
He's just making sure that he gets both the Caliber and the Upgrade by next turn. All the healing in the world.
Yeah. Wait, do you just play
I mean,
Worm
che0nsu's
Rest 'cause
only
you
concern
can?
is, can he set up a safe Elysiana? And he can this turn?
I guess it's just a 7/7 straight up as well. It's not something to be sniffed at.
Yeah. Bone Wraith?
Bone Wraith? Or maybe
Always
even
with
like...
your hidden Oasis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's more flexible.
I want Hunts for the Galacron hero power.
Germination? Insane. Siamat?
Tiamat?
Insane.
Hello?
Dragon Queen. Oh wait,
Not necessarily active because you get duplicates, but it's funny.
he picked transfer student. Test. What does it do on this map?
Storm. Oh man, is this the
Divine Shield?
give someone +1/+? I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe.
no,
that's
I think that's the
Pandaria.
Pandaria map.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Might be Divine Shield.
Well, we shall see. We can learn something here hopefully as well.
Mhm.
Do try to keep yourself.
Okay.
This is it, right? This is the last chance for Tyler to try and take the win.
I get 3 bombs in there over the course of 3 turns.
Yeah, from his perspective, I guess. Oh, I was right. But I mean, here for che0nsu, you just go Sticky Finger Purifier, right?
Yep. Tyler just hoping that that last Sticky Finger was somehow replaced. Actually,
Sure.
che0nsu did draw just about everything for Elysiana, right? If possible.
I guess this just wins the game as well. Tyler throws it down at the end, and Gia, it's all coming together. che0nsu's master plan, insta-conceding 2 series just because you can. And then it all comes down to the Warrior. 2-0 against it so far, and now the Shaman is the final deck. It couldn't have ended in a better way.
Oh yes, I mean, Tyler started off with his best chances, and now che0nsu has started off with his own best chances, because I think from the very beginning we are aware that the Shaman was the shakiest of these 3 decks because it is so inconsistent with the card draw that it doesn't always hit the weapon removal. And, you know, it got surprisingly close there. I would say even in the Druid game, Tyler had windows to maybe pull the rug out from under che0nsu, and even more so in the priest game. So I feel like that problem will be exacerbated when he's facing the Shaman, which definitely doesn't have as many options as the other 2 decks. So I think that Tyler's still in with a shot here.
In with a shot for sure, but this is it's still a nice matchup for che0nsu. He's undeniably favored at this point. It's the entire point of the deck is to beat this one matchup, and there are some powerful things to be able to get through here. You know, it's not just the weapon destruction that you have there as well. There's obviously plenty of removal to remove all of the druids, all of the warriors' threats for any development they have. And there's also some pretty powerful healing as well. We're obviously looking at Witch's Brew as the main one. But there's also Diligent Note Taker to go along with that to get an extra one back to your hand, a fairly common interaction we saw. Tidal Wave for a 3 damage lifesteal AoE is very, very powerful as well. It's the hardest matchup for sure for che0nsu, but he still has to be in the lead here.
And the Tidal Wave is nothing to scoff at, because that's the only reason you want to hero power at all as Shaman, is just to put totems as fodder for 3 HP healing later on in the game. And already, che0nsu has 1 ooze available that's an insta-keep. I'm not sure if you want the Fist of Raden. Probably not a matchup where you care about being proactive whatsoever.
Yeah, my instinct is to say no. I think you'd rather just find more weapon destruction. It's your primary win condition, and it's just what you hard mulligan for. I like it.
Agreed. Okay, Tyler has 2 weapons already, Corsair and the natural Wrench Caliber. So right off the bat, we're seeing that che0nsu needs to draw something else to give himself the best shot of winning. Oh,
okay.
Tyler has 3 weapons.
That's kind of bad, because obviously you want max charges on your Wrench Caliber, but at the same time, he's got a very weapon synergistic hand. If he can get one of these to stick, he's in a decent spot.
It's bad in the sense that it's not ideal for card draw, but I would say that having the guaranteed weapon chain is very powerful. If you can just play all the Wrench Calibers ASAP, che0nsu has, you know, less time to have drawn towards his weapon removal. It's already a decision point for Tyler. Yeah, I like this. I think while the Anchor does get you cycle, I think Tyler's best shot of winning is trying to get all the bombs in there before che0nsu has time to draw Ooze and Sticky Finger. He's so excited! Oh my god!
Bloom Sticky Finger! This deck is the nuts!
Alright, Tyler, get out of here! che0nsu has done it. This is what he was playing toward with this lineup.
Yep, he's in a very, very good spot right now. Even with the overload, boom, snap, play the Ooze there to clean up the second Wrench Caliber. He does.
I find this so funny, and it's at Tyler's expense, so I'm so sorry. But this whole idea of this lineup is so hilarious.
It's objectively funny. I do not fault you for that. The one thing I will say is that che0nsu had the information that the Ankar was in hand, which can get the Horde Pillagers from the deck being the important thing. You don't really care about the Risky Skippers or the 1-mana Pirates either. It's just about finding the Horde Pillagers. And so che0nsu's best chance here, obviously with him being in the lead, looks like to just go for tempo. We were calling this a non-proactive Shaman deck. He's just playing Zoo Shaman. He's winning on board.
That doesn't matter, Daruk. Like, after Tyler deals with the rest of this board, che0nsu just has no way of dealing more damage.
How?
But he did get
Look
the
at this.
best result. Okay.
The minion sticks, walking fountain in a couple of turns' time. Tyler's just dead. No chance.
Also put a bomb into Tyler's deck.
Oh,
wow, he
lightning
found it
plume
now.
fountain! Oh!
Please
Didn't
do
even
it.
fit in the devolve.
It's even a good shape for playing around Bladestorm.
True.
Do it, do it. I mean, when I played the Shaman deck, I found that the lightning blooms hardly ever did anything. So I would settle
Yeah.
for just getting the walking fountain down now. But I guess che0nsu is saying this is 100% as long as I don't waste all of my healing.
I'll show
So
you who's
Tyler should play the
boss
Horde
away.
Pillager before he swings, right? To guarantee himself Wrench Caliber.
Correct.
Armor made to fit.
And he's healing up because he's afraid of the Shaman. It's too funny.
Treasure? Loot?
Okay,
And more so
correct
just
ordering.
Horde presence.
So there are now 3 bombs in the deck, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken, right? Okay. That's a thing.
Tyler has outs. I mean, he has Krasinov in hand. He has a couple
Yeah.
draws to get towards Blastmaster Boom. Not over.
Blastmaster and also Galakrond actually is a big, big deal too.
And here is one of those points where, as Shaman, you have board clears that give you healing also, but you kind of don't want to waste the healing. But at the same time, he has so much redundancy with the Witch's Brew that he certainly has to expend them.
He's got so much overheal here, it's ridiculous. And this does stick a big threat as well. It's not worth nothing, for sure.
This way, he doesn't overheal. So it's the best line.
Consider this a house call.
Yuck.
Okay, looking for Shield Slam. Okay.
Okay. I'm taking that. That is a near useless card in the matchup.
Uh-huh. And this is the other problem of Shaman. No card draw whatsoever. che0nsu is completely relying on either Tyler to give him some way to use all of these AoE spells or the top of his deck to do something proactive.
And that draw of a bomb there is huge for che0nsu. Every time the damage comes in a little bit at a time is great news for che0nsu because he gets to heal for maximum then. What he wants to avoid is 3 or 4 at once. That's the possible loss condition for che0nsu.
But at the same time, you also have to think about how to optimize the Witch's Brew, because obviously it's not maximum healing right now, but he might not have the time to play it for maximum healing if he holds out for super long. So I think this is the turn to heal for 4 procs, get a totem on board, which charges up Tidal Wave.
That's true as well, yeah. Alright, 12 cards left for Tyler. We're looking for Galakrond as soon as possible. If he can find it in the next couple of cards, I'm gonna say there's a window.
There for sure is.
That's a good
Oh
bridge.
my
That might bridge the gap.
There's 5 bombs now in che0nsu's deck.
Lethal?
Elysiana? Never. I mean, I think it's very likely that we'll see Elysiana in the next few turns. Oh.
Very possibly. Ooh!
Does he just skipper it and try to win right now?
Skipper, Armorsmith, Boom, that takes up 2 slots. Like, there's no way to silence in the deck, though, right? Like, I guess you're afraid if they go Lurker below, that can chew up a lot
Tidal
of the
Wave, I
charges.
think. That's the big fear.
I guess so, yeah, that's true.
So he's just going for removing all of che0nsu's minions. You don't get the max boom bots, but you end up with the narrowest board, which removes the most effectivity from Tidal Wave.
2 bombs! 2 bombs is what he needs.
Oh,
That's one!
bomb! 5 in the deck.
Oh.
He's alive.
Oh my god.
That is insanely close. And now che0nsu has the mana to go Tidal Wave, Lightning Bloom, Torrent for the full clear. He heals for 9. Not that much, actually.
He's still potentially dead on the following turn.
Yeah.
Tyler gets a weapon. Doesn't really matter which one. Gets him down to 10.
Obviously, Wrench Caliber's better for more bomb saturation, but as far as breakpoints go, you're right, it doesn't matter.
That's the wrench!
Oh! 6 bombs in che0nsu's deck! And even if he doesn't hit it, he's overloaded, so he can't replace the deck with Elysiana at the moment. 1 bomb!
That's a bomb! Oh!
Oh my goodness!
He's drawing again! My heart!
Because he needs to hit healing. He's just dead otherwise.
He's just dead! He has to hit healing.
So we're looking at the other Witch's Brew, Groundskeeper.
Oh!
Weapon removal? Okay, he's alive on board. But Tyler's... Oh my god, he hits a taunt
Taunt's
as well.
huge!
I was gonna say Tyler has top deck Galakron as an out, but he hits the taunt totem as well.
But he has the shield slam, so Galakron is still an out
you're
for
right.
Tyler here.
You're right. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're playing bomb roulette at the moment. That's all that's happening right now. Deathwing?
Deathwing! Okay, sure, that's another threat that has to be removed. 13 damage scheme will do it.
Schemable, but che0nsu still needs healing. He has 5 bombs in the deck.
Oh!
Still not it.
Tyler can't watch! I can't watch!
I can't either. che0nsu wants to Elysiana, but not while Tyler has threats and not while he hasn't drawn his healing. No taunt totem.
Oh, he's looking at like hexing his own minion here.
If only he had mana to go scheme hero power hex.
That's
Oh,
cycle!
A draw for Galakron!
But he has no mana. Galakron's not lethal here.
Yeah. Ah! Doesn't matter. Last 4 cards in Tyler's deck are Galakron, Bear of Bladestorm. Where is the
Gala?
Gala?
Ah!
Oh my god, Tyler just won.
He has to hit Taunt. And even then he still loses.
Yeah, because of the shield slam. Tyler just
He's
won.
lost. He actually lost.
And che0nsu knows it, almost certainly, because Tyler will only have 1 card left in his deck, and unless that very last card is Galakron, then che0nsu loses, and he knows it.
Devolving missiles can't do anything.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing.
There's
Just
just
not
nothing.
there. An Elysiana for style point.
He just has to pray that Galakron is literally the bottom
Exactly.
card, right?
Exactly. And we know it isn't.
There is little time.
Play is look for taunt totem plus lurker below. Doesn't even hit the taunt. But che0nsu should also know, even if there were a taunt, very likely that Tyler has shield slam, and Tyler's like, let's go!
The pop-off, the final deck that he needed to get the win with. che0nsu, his entire strategy was to 3-0 Bomb Warrior. The Priest did it, the Druid did it, but the Shaman at the final hurdle loses to Galakron. And Tyler has got to be the most excited with a win I think I've ever seen him be.
I completely agree. Tyler has been very chill, and he's had, more flashy pop-offs, but in terms of the emotional impact of this win, nothing can compare. Subtle said it before we started this game, that the Shaman matchup, this is the one that matters, because this is the deck that is least consistent, the one that has the most shaky theory behind it. And right at the end there, che0nsu couldn't close it out, because not only do you have to hit weapon removal, you have to hit healing, and minion removal. And if you don't have all of those at the right time with the little card draw you have, the plan can fall apart.
And while the man of the hour here is obviously Tyler in doing the undoable, he defeated the deck that was specifically built to counter what he brought. I do just want to say thank you to che0nsu. He brought a really cool lineup. It was great fun to watch. And also, like you said it perfectly, good sportsman is the perfect way to describe it. He saw the funny side of it all along. And even going down now to 0-4 in his first 2 weeks of Grandmasters, it's a horrible way to start things off. He gave us such a show along the way, and I'm thankful for that, if nothing else.
It's easily the bravest thing we've seen all season. Even someone like Shaxi has not done something quite